the show today, Karen and Joe Sutton-Johal. So these guys are the founder of a system called Penny Drops, and they discovered the 4 money mindsets. This is something we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So what do you think are some of the most common patterns that you see then?
The interesting patterns that we see is that when we went out to look at the money mindsets, there are the 4 money mindsets. So there's a mindset to be in debt for sure. But when we researched it, there's a mindset to break even. And it does what it says on the tin. Somebody with that money mindset will break even. A comfortable money mindset or saving money mindset is a very specific mindset where people save money and then they spend. And a rich money mindset is hugely different again. And what is an interesting thing is some cultures do seem to have, and I don't want to say something broad brush or, you know what I mean, too much or anything like that, but certain cultures really do understand that they are responsible for their financial success.
Yeah. Okay, so go through those mindsets again. How would people listening to this spot it? You know, if they had a poverty mind, what were they again? Say them one at a time.
Right, yeah. Now we've got the 4 money mindset. So we've got an in-debt money mindset. And it's all seen in, you can see it top line in the financial behaviors. So think of it this way. When your money comes in, I don't know how often it comes in, once a month, once a week, whatever. We're just going to say once a month. When your money comes in, does it straight away go to service consumer debt? If some of it goes straight away to service consumer debt, that's an in-debt money mindset.
What does that mean? Service
consumer debt means if you've got credit cards.
Okay. I've got to pay back my overdraft.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I was always in my overdraft. When money came in, the first £2,000 was always just eaten by the overdraft. Because I was always at the end of my overdraft.
Yeah.
So it's already spent before it, as soon as it lands in, you've already counted for it. Yeah.
I'm just getting back to zero.
Yeah.
At this point.
Spot on. And when I was a debt advisor, you'd see a lot of that. Now, it's interesting, a break-even money mindset, exactly what it says on the tin. The money comes in and it's allocated.
Okay,
and
right.
If they can save a little bit towards the end, they will, but it always goes on something over a year or so, how you'd see the pattern there, Mark, is the money comes in, allocated, it's all spent, and then a tiny bit at the end.
Yeah, so there's not much joy in that for really. So it's just
and people feel like they never get ahead.
Okay, I've been there too actually. So so that feeling of like I'm making ends meet, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm not really saving anything. I'm not really investing anything.
Yeah.
But surely to some of this is just an external reality as well, right? I mean, for someone in a certain wage, for a certain job, you know, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. It's a bit different for me, but someone who's a nurse who lives in Brighton, that's a set salary for the NHS.
Yeah. And
there's a set sort of standard rent of, say, a 2-bedroom apartment in Brighton. I mean, isn't there just a reality there as well as a mindset?
The thing is, there isn't. And I'm not saying that the reality isn't X amount of money that comes in for you, but if, for argument's sake, you have a nurse in Brighton who has a comfortable money mindset, not the break even, right? They've got a comfortable. Sure as anything, they'll be having the 1-bedroomed, and it'll be a bit of a grotty one, and they will save. And the pattern you'll see for a comfortable money mindset is as soon as the money hits the account, they save a portion, and then they spend the rest. And
they're putting aside something. Okay, so I not that long ago got to this point. So I noticed when I was actually, I said this to you guys before, I don't mind sharing it out there because people often say, Mark, you're amazing with business and money. I'm like, I weren't always. I mean, for the first 5 years of my business, first 3 years of the business were tough. But after 3 years, we started doing quite well. I started making money. And I remember after 5 or 6 years, I went to my business advisor, and she said, why don't you put some money aside for that and that? I said, I'm always in my overdraft. And she said, well, why? You earn pretty good money. And I was on about 40,000 a year or something, you know, but I was always going back to my overdraft. And then eventually I got to a place where I was able to sort of at least break even. When I got married, I decided, right, no more debt. It's like overnight I shifted out of debt mindset. So I'm not going to get in debt because I'm getting married. And I really made a firm choice that I wouldn't make my wife inherit my debt. That didn't seem fair. So I got to more of like a break-even point. my wife claims she's lucky with money. I think she's grown up in a family where she has a very different mindset. She's quite relatively wealthy. And I've just the last couple of years, I've started putting money aside. So money will come in and I'll go, right, we had 50K come in from a big sale a while back. And I went, right, 10K I'm going to put into Bitcoin and an account. And I'm going to look into some shares and okay, let's put that aside. And then I spend the money. So is that like I've shifted?
That's a comfortable money mindset.
Okay.
And they will save first before they spend anything. And it doesn't matter. That's what makes an immigrant buy a sewing machine, even when they're living on absolutely sod all. They know if I can get the money together to do that, I can make more.
Right. And I'm going to save money. That's an investment.
Yeah.
You know, rather than I'm going to keep renting, I'm going to put money aside. And in 10 years, I'm going to be able to buy a little house.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I came to London in 1989, and within 4 years, I owned my own flat outright. And I came with 17 quid. For the first while, I was sleeping on floors. But I had some drive, and I did understand if I don't sort myself out to have a bit of collateral, I'm going nowhere. Funnily enough, once I had the first 1-bedroom flat, I was able to borrow to buy a big place to convert into a block, and I was able to do different things. Now that's a rich money mindset where every penny that comes in, Joe and I are a bit like this at the moment, where as soon as money comes into us, we decide, okay, how do we leverage this money? This money needs to make more money now. Yeah.
So the mindset moves from, okay, I've got £1,000, say. So the comfortable is like, I can save that.
That's right.
But the rich mindset is, okay, what is the asset here? So, for example, one of the things I looked at was like, okay, I could put it into an account, but then the interest is lower than inflation, so that doesn't make sense. Yeah. Or I can invest it in this part of my business, and that's likely to have a better return.
Spot on. And particularly if in your business, you focus on growing assets. Because this is another thing we see about people with the poorer money mindsets. They're not brought up to understand that you're nowhere without assets. They are the only game in town.
Right. I was speaking to someone who had just inherited a house, and they had a house of their own, and they were going to sell it. And I said, listen, don't sell it, rent it. Do you want the cow or do you want the milk?
Yeah.
And they said, the milk.
Yeah.
And I went, no, wrong answer. And this person was not unsuccessful or poor, but they still had the mindset of thinking, get the thing now.
Yeah.
Not the asset, not the thing that's going to keep making money. Like, we might even have to go back to basics. Like, what's an asset for people?
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. And for people, we grow up not understanding what assets are. Like, often people will think their own home is an asset, but their own home is usually a liability, because an asset is something that systematically puts money in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah. And you can build assets from yourself from the ground up, or you can buy assets, but they are something that systematically pays you, and income follows assets. It is the only game in town.
Let me try and clarify that. I want to make it relevant, because most people listening to this don't have, portfolios of shares. So my YouTube channel, which has ad revenue, that's an asset, because every month I get a certain amount from YouTube that comes.
That's right. That's right.
Whereas, what about my email list? Now, that is not making money directly, but it has the potential to make a lot of money. Like, if I've got,
that is a good asset. And think of it as well. In there, it's probably an asset that probably keeps on giving in some ways, because I bet you embedded in there is all sorts of information. Do you know what I mean? If it's a big enough list that you could segment and all kinds of things, you could really leverage.
Part of the system that you can actually make money from.
Yeah.
And that becomes an asset. A bit like a YouTube channel, that something comes off every month, in effect, is actually, whether you're showing up or not, it's going to come in, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the YouTube channel is just, I could be sitting on a beach in Thailand and that would still come in. The email list I'd have to send an offer out to.
Yeah, but yes,